All right, Cavs Celtics down 22 points 5 minutes into the game. They come storming back. They hold Boston in the entire second half to 42 points, guys. Maybe the best win of the season, maybe the best game of the season. And we're going to break this down into a couple different components. But we'll start with some of the defensive adjustments the Cavs made to slow down Boston, particularly Tatum and Brown, who both had really good, productive first halves. Earl, did you notice the little change the Cavs made in the fourth quarter, which completely took Boston out of what it was trying to accomplish offensively?
I did not.
G, did you happen to pick up on that little nuance change that the Cavs made defensively?
No, I think you're going to tell us, though.
I am going to tell you guys. And it's something that me and Steve Becker were actually talking about. So they traded for DeAndre Hunter, right?
Yeah.
And when they traded for DeAndre Hunter, the first thing we all said was, he's going to guard Tatum or Brown. Except what Boston does better than any team in basketball is they hunt mismatches.
That switch game.
They put 5 on the perimeter. They have the guy who screens try and get the switch, and then have Tatum or Brown or whoever attack the weaker defender. And for the first 3 quarters of the game, the Cavs just conceded every switch. Almost no resistance whatsoever. It didn't matter where the screen was being set. Didn't matter who was setting the screen. When they came up, they were hunting the bigs. They actually hunted Allen and Mobley a couple times, which you don't see happen very often. And they were hunting Darius Garland, which we all expected. But in the fourth quarter, Kenny Atkinson and that coaching staff decided we're not going to concede switches. We're going to try and fight over, and if we don't, we're going to at least hedge bump and make them recover. And I found a couple plays from the fourth quarter that kind of show what Cleveland did and why it complicated things for Boston and slowed them down. So you want to dive into some of these real quick?
Jump in there.
Real quick. Steve, you want to take this on the telestrate. I'm not even going to draw on this. We're just more talk about it. But this is Derek White being guarded by Darius Garland, and Dean Wade is guarding Jaylen Brown in this instance. Mm-hmm. Check the score, 116-114. The 2 possessions prior to this play, the Cavaliers conceded the switch. Garland was guarding Brown, and Brown got to the cup and scored on back-to-back buckets. 110-112, Brown on Garland. 112-114, Brown on Garland. Dean Wade did not get nearly enough credit for this win. His defense in the fourth quarter was phenomenal, and this play in particular, I think, is the shining example of the little things Dean does that don't get picked up in the box score. So they're going to try to set this ball screen and have Garland switch onto Jaylen Brown again. But as you can see, as he comes over here, watch how Darius stays on top of this screen, and then watch how Dean Wade doesn't concede the switch. White's going to turn back toward the sideline, and Wade hedges. He has the sideline as an extra defender. At this point, Garland could just stay there, right? Mm-hmm. If Brown flies out, Garland probably has to go with him. But because there's a half-second hesitation when Derek White turns to make this pass, Dean Wade's going to find a way to get back and recover. This sets up a one-on-one top of the perimeter here with Dean Wade on Jaylen Brown, a much better matchup. And then Wade knows the scatter report. What's the scatter report on Jaylen Brown?
Man, you know good and well Jaylen Brown can't get to the left hand.
Can't go left, right? Can't go left. Dean Wade also knows that. What does he do? You see high foot, right side, forcing him left.
Yeah, look.
Takes the pivot, makes him drive left, contests the shot, forces the miss. We'll go back and start it from the beginning here. But watch how Wade shows, gets to the sideline, doesn't concede the switch, and then gets back. And before Derek White even picks up the ball, Dean Wade's back on Jaylen Brown. That's not a switch. If that's Jaylen Brown on Darius Garland, the 2 possessions before, right to the cup. Because Dean Wade refuses to let that switch happen, hustles, shows, makes contact, and then gets back, the Cavs are in perfect help position, force a tough miss for Jaylen Brown.
And McNuggets, 15 years ago, when I played basketball in high school, it was a cardinal sin. There was never – switching was not a thing.
No.
Like when you played man-to-man defense, it was like, no, you're going to hedge. You're going to hard hedge, and then you're going to get back and recover to the road guy wherever he's at. Then about, the Warriors come up about, I would say about 10 years ago, and they come with the death lineup, and then you had to start finding 4 men and 5 men that could switch on everything. And I think people are used to that now. People are used to having the least amount of resistance in terms of hedging, or I don't even know. Listen, I don't even know if they ice anymore. Is that a thing anymore?
In rare instances.
That ain't even a thing no more. No. But you're just used to switching. So now if it takes you a couple of seconds just to be like, oh, you really just gave me some resistance, that puts you behind the clock and it forces you to take tough shots.
You know what's so interesting about that play and the timing of that play? This was a few minutes after, he took Evan out during that 4-minute stretch, and Boston got an easy layup at the basket.
Yep.
Kenny calls a timeout. The very next time down court, that's exactly when that happened.
Yep.
So those are those little adjustments that's being made on the fly that ultimately helped us secure the victory in that game.
Now, my question is, will you see more of that if you have Porzingis playing?
So this next play we're going to show you changes when it's Porzingis and not Kornet.
Yeah.
They didn't really have a role threat in this game.
Right.
You live with Kornet taking any shot he wants. It's different with Porzingis.
Yeah.
But the principles stay the same. So on this next play, you have Wade guarding Jaylen Brown again, and you have Kornet who's going to set a ball screen. Pritchard's going to end up getting the ball over to Jaylen Brown. But Dean, once again, as he's getting screened, he's going to fight over, and Mobley, because he's not worried about Kornet whatsoever, is going to just kind of play drop. He's going to essentially sit in this area and force Jaylen Brown to come to him. Because he does that, it's going to give time for Dean Wade to come over the top and just hinder. It's one thing when you're going downhill, right? Jaylen Brown's as good as it gets in basketball attacking downhill. But when you have a 6'11 Defensive Player of the Year candidate in the paint that you have to figure out how to get around, plus a Dean Wade coming from behind you, pause, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was wild.
I'm sorry.
That was one of the
when you have Dean Wade
when you have
Dean Wade trailing the play like that, it's two things you have to worry about at once in terms of how do I create a good look. So when Kornet sets the screen, he's going to hit Wade. And Wade's still going to trail over. You're not worried about Kornet roll. Like, you have no issue with Kornet. He can do whatever he wants there. So Mobley's just going to kind of sit back and wait for the drive. And here's Dean Wade on his hip. He had already fought over the screen. He ends up fouling Jaylen Brown on this play. So it's not the perfect end result. Mm-hmm. But look at that caliber of shot.
Yeah.
Take out the foul. Let's just say it's a contest. That's the kind of shot you want Jaylen Brown taking. Evan Mobley's in front of him. Dean Wade's off to the side with the contest. And you have Kornet there who's not a threat whatsoever. That's how you guard Jaylen Brown, make them take tough shots. They can make tough shots. They're going to make tough shots.
Jaylen Brown made tough shots. Jaylen Brown, three quarters they hit tough shots.
But if you can make them take tough shots over the course of a 48-minute game, you're going to get much better results than when he's isolating against a Darius Garland. There's not enough help and whatnot. But Dean Wade, all throughout the fourth quarter, just made life miserable for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on those switches.
What was more impressive to you? Was it the impressive way that the Cavs were able to put up points very quickly, or the fact that they were able to stop the Celtics defensively when they needed to?
I'm more impressed with the defense. They held Boston to 42 points in the second half.
Wasn't it like 18 in the fourth?
18 in the fourth.
Yeah.
24 in the third, 18 in the fourth. When Boston needed to get buckets,
they
could not score on
they
Cleveland.
Couldn't. To me, that was the most impressive thing as well, because if you look at Kenny Atkinson as a coach, we always rave about what he's learned offensively under Steve Kerr, but the defensive side of things has been a staple. And if you listen to Kenny talk in a in a media room, he always puts emphasis on the effort or lack thereof on the defensive side of the ball. So to see this team to kind of clamp down defensively in the second half on the road in the Garden against that team, especially knowing Tatum had 30 in the first half, those adjustments right there what played a huge part in us winning that game. It wasn't just Donovan's, big shots and things like that. It was, avoiding the switch, locking down on your guys, and just playing sound defense throughout that second half.
And I'll give it to him. There's a lot. When Tatum was going off, there were some times where Jarrett Allen had some really good perimeter defense for a big.
Good offense beats good defense.
And there was times where Evan Mobley had really good perimeter, moving your feet.
He Jason Tatum.
Forcing a tough step back with the shot hand up. I mean, what are you going to do about that? But I love the fact that the Cavs' defensive profile has changed. It just looks different. Like, DeAndre Hunter playing with the rest of them two, it looks different. It's like there's no easy, little gimmies here or there. Or you can hunt out certain guys. If you want to play Strus, you want to play him, Garland, and Mitchell, you can hunt out that stuff, but not when you playing the two bigs and Hunter. And I think, do you believe that this was one of the little wrinkles that people talk about his gamemanship? Maybe Kenny don't want to show everything. Is that something that they said, okay, we'll give you that for the first 3 quarters, see how you do, but we'll flip this a little bit because this might be a little bit the way we're gonna play this. if we see you again?
It's possible.
I'm gonna say no.
Because I've never seen them hedging before that.
I'm gonna say no.
Kenny's wanted to switch, and they feel comfortable switching because they typically like Allen and Mobley guarding guards and wings on the perimeter, but Tatum was cooking them in the first half. And when he's making shots like that, it doesn't matter if you have Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, like he's going to make those shots.
And if Dennis and Scottie ain't stopping you,
turn the video game off.
And you mentioned Hunter, G. I also picked 2 plays from Hunter real quick that similar strategy, 4 stops in the fourth quarter against Boston. This particular play, he drew an offensive foul on Tatum. You see where Hunter's standing on this play? Look how far back he is from the screen. Mm-hmm. Essentially saying, Darius, we're not switching this. Like, you have so much room to slide through this screen.
Right.
And because Derek White's so high, I mean, look where he's basically in front of the half-court line. Even if he takes 2 steps in, you live with the Derek White three-pointer from this area. So he's playing back. That's going to piss Tatum off because Tatum's trying to get the switch. He wants Darius Garland. So watch what happens as DeAndre sits back and allows Darius space to come through. Moving screen.
Yep.
Offensive foul. It's little nuance, like by simply not conceding the switch.
He knew it too.
Oh yeah, by simply not conceding the switch. Tatum starts the screen here and finishes the screen here.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about a moving screen? That's a 3-foot moving screen. Turns into a turnover.
Shout out to Darius for selling it too.
Yeah, but it turns into another possession for Cleveland. And Kenny talked about they won the possession battle against Boston by 7. They had 7 more offensive possessions than the Celtics did. Why? Because they didn't force stupid offensive fouls that lead to – no, they had a couple, obviously, but throughout the course of the game. And this is simply because DeAndre is saying, I'm not switching that. I'm staying on Tatum. Darius, you get over or under, however he wants to guard that screen. And just look at this. I wish we could zoom in on this thing, but
he's grabbing him.
He's grabbing. He's
like,
hugging.
You're gonna be with me.
I think that's a holding call in the NFL. Like
he said, "It's you,"
and that doesn't happen.
Me.
That doesn't happen if they still concede switches.
Yeah.
So another little example, and then the last one here we'll get to, but it is once again DeAndre guarding Tatum, and he's gonna end up getting screened twice here by Derek White. On the first screen, he's able to fight over.
Right.
On the second screen, it's good offense by the Celtics. He gets caught up, but by the time Tatum gets the switch he wants, there's 7 on the shot clock.
That's what we like to see.
He can't post up, take 7 dribbles.
Dance,
he
step
has
back.
to go immediately. And Tatum ends up scoring on this play because the Cavs don't have a big to get the rebound. I'll let it play through in a sec. But by Hunter chasing him over the screen and then having to get rescreened, it drains the shot clock from 13 to 7 when Tatum starts to attack. So as you can see here, Hunter's going to fight over the first one. Nope. Tatum doesn't like it. He comes back. And by the time he gets DG on him, he's driving. There's no big in the lane to contest. That's that one possession where they played with no bigs. But the fact that Hunter fights over the screen, gets back into guarding position right here, and then Tatum has to then rescreen to get back to the middle. By the time that all happens, it has wasted 5 seconds on the shot clock. Tatum has to attack. Little nuances like that in the fourth quarter,
and
particularly.
it was a tough shot.
And,
so
and we'll take that.
Held Boston to 18 points in the second half. Really impressive stuff from the Cavs.
In the first part of that series, you see that Tatum has 42 points, Brown has 33 points. I'm comfortable living in a world where they have all of those points. Because what it means for me is that means Al Horford don't got no points.
I was just about to say, Drew Holiday.
Derek White don't have no points.
Game, no.
Drew didn't play, but it's like Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Al Horford seem to be Cavalier killers.
Those are the guys that
Porzingis too.
Too. If those guys got 15 and 16 apiece, you can't beat them because you know with Tatum and Brown gonna give you at least 20. So when they got 42 and 33, I don't like that game. I don't like the Celtics game when it's my turn, your turn. See, you can win a lot of games like that. I've seen the Cavs do that a lot of times. My turn, your turn. And LeBron or Kyrie will have a lot of points, but we don't get anything from the others. You could beat them if they want to have all those points. My thing is if they spread out and everybody got 16, 17, 19, 20.
They're more dangerous, yeah.
It's dangerous. You're not going to win that game.
Jackson Flickinger wrote a really good article on how what the Cavs have done this season against 28 other teams not named Boston works great. But against Boston, they have to play a different style. And that is with one big Hunter at the 4 and more spacing because they can switch everything. If they get hunted in mismatches, they're just more flexible in terms of, like, that last play. If that's Jarrett Allen instead of DeAndre Hunter, he's not running over a screen then chasing back.
No.
That's just not in his arsenal. It's no disrespect to Jarrett.
Yeah, he's
that's
a
just
five.
That's not what a big man does. They have to play in that proverbial small ball lineup against Boston to counter what Boston does. And DeAndre Hunter gives them the ability to do that now. They don't beat Boston on Friday without DeAndre Hunter and without Dean Wade, a healthy Dean Wade. And obviously Donovan went crazy. We'll talk about that in a sec. But all in all, they have to play that style to beat Boston, in my opinion. And I think they're the only team in basketball, at least in the East, maybe OKC from a size standpoint, but they're the only team in the East that can go small and still have enough size to contain Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you look at a dude like Ty Jerome, like he's a guard, but he's 6'5", and Kenny talked about it like in today's NBA, like
he had 6 steals yesterday, by the way. Bad job by us for not mentioning that.
He did have 6
Our guy
steals.
Spencer, who's sitting back there today, asked everyone about it, but he had 6 steals yesterday.
Yeah, 6 steals.
I'm scared.
And a hefty fine.
I am scared because of this. If I'm somebody else out there, I'm giving him a crazy bag. I'm giving him a crazy bag of money. There is time, I'm not going to lie, man. You go back to the game against the Trailblazers. There were times where you're not losing anything from your starting point guards. As a matter of fact, he's out. If you ask me, he's outplayed Darius Garland in a number of games this year. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
he's outplayed Donovan a few games too.
Right. Like when you see what he did yesterday, it's like, okay, he's getting to the rim. He's shooting a high percentage at the rim. He's pulling up from half court, wherever it's at. You have to guard him. He got heart. He brings intensity, and he has the size that actually matters. So my thing is, I don't know what the cap is looking like, but I'm telling you something. If I'm somebody else after this year, I'm giving him a Fred VanVleet contract.
He's not getting $40 million a year.
I mean, but Fred VanVleet got 40. Is VanVleet better than him?
Nope.
Right now, no.
No, but at his
VanVleet was
at his prime.
Yeah, he was.
Ah, man.
See, that's what happened with all those scout reports, because you talked about this. Everybody been talking about this.
I don't know, man.
It seems like everybody's asking Kenny the same questions after every game. How is Ty Jerome doing this, right? You hear DeAndre talk about, man, I don't know. You hear Donovan, who's known him in the past. I don't know. Kenny was with him in Golden State. I couldn't tell you. Like, sometimes it's unexplainable. You just got to sit back, enjoy the ride, and be thankful he on your team.
Preach.
Is he better than DiVincenzo? And he got a bag.
What was DiVincenzo's contract? The issue is there's not teams with cap space this year.
Well, listen, I'm not hoping. I don't want to talk him off the roster.
Yeah, no.
But I'm just saying, he's
quick.
playing out his mind, man.
On the Jerome thing, then we'll get to the next topic I want to talk about from the Celtics game. The Cavs have early bird rights, which helps. They could sign him to more than what they could if they didn't have early bird rights as a non-level, mid-level exception, because they do have that with him. His best friend is on the team. His childhood homie's on the team. A coach that loves him, and he seems to love back, is on the team, and a general manager that wanted to draft him when he was coming out, that now believes is still there, and he's on a championship caliber team, as opposed to going to the 3 teams that have cap space this summer, and none of them are good.
We need to find him a girlfriend here, too. Get seal that all the way up. Like, yeah, you trapped
Man,
all the way.
We got something in Cleveland better than that, man. We got, like, one of the best food scenes in the entire world, man. Like, listen, stop playing with my city like that, bro. Like, Ty Jerome ain't too quick to leave up out of Cleveland, man.
Hey,
he got everything here at his fingertips.
It looks like a perfect setup. I will say this, though, man. If you ask me right now, who could you see hitting multiple big shots in the playoffs besides Donovan Mitchell? It's Ty Jerome.
I mean, Darius Garland is like the best clutch plus minus in basketball, shooting 60% from 3.
Yo,
I'm just envisioning it.
It's getting to the point.
It's
getting to the point, and Spencer is behind the scenes, but it's getting to the point to, like, when we at the games, me, Mike, and Spencer sit next to each other. Every time this man hit a shot, the first thing we do is look at each other.
It's crazy.
Every single time.
He's the best story in basketball. I've said it. I'll say it again. He's the best story in basketball.